Welcome back to the Early Edge. I'm joined now by Calvin Wetzel, our go-to guy for anything WNBA. And first, I got a question for you because I know you're a big Valkyries guy, as am I. So we got to start with that game versus the Fever. They are coming off a 19-point loss to the Valkyries in Caitlin Clark's return. Look, I think there was a lot of pressure on her in that game. It's okay that she didn't come out swinging. She's got to ease into it a little bit. But if you look there, they're now sitting 9-10 on the season. How concerning is that mark to you? And do you see a bounce back spot tonight at home against the Dream?
I do think they're going to bounce back tonight. We'll talk about that one in a little bit. And I wouldn't be overly concerned in terms of like hitting a big red panic button yet, especially like you said, Caitlin Clark first came back and they're playing the Valkyries. Anytime you play the Valkyries, it's going to be tough, as you know. But that being said, there is a little bit of concern just when you look at the fact that it's July and they're still under 500. And of course, Caitlin missed some of those games, but some of the games that she's played, she hasn't looked fully herself this year. She's not shooting nearly as well as she did last season. And at this point, they kind of have a hole to climb out of in terms of the standings. So even if they start to turn it on, it's going to be a big ask to ask them to get up into the top 2 or 3 or even 4 in the standings. It looks pretty likely that they're going to have to go on the road at this point in the first round, barring some miraculous run down the stretch here, given how many games back they are. And so to me, there's a little bit of concern just in terms of that and in terms of they need to get Caitlin Clark right at this point, because obviously 2 separate injuries and then coming back to face a tough defense like the Valkyries, it's going to be tough to get back into the swing of things. But at some point, they need her at her peak in order for them to reach their ceiling.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Also, the All-Star game coming up. She's has her own team that she's leading, and she had 1.2 million votes to get there. So she definitely, the crowd will want to see her there as well. So hopefully she gets back up to speed. When we look at the championship winner odds, and I think we're going to pull them up here pretty quick, it looks like it's shaping up just to be like a 2-team race here between the Liberty and the Lynx. Is there a team that you think is like flying under the radar that could offer some value? Valkyries.
Well, I do love the Valkyries' value to get into the playoffs, possibly win a series. In terms of the championship, I think you have to go with the Phoenix Mercury. They're third in the odds right now, around plus 600. They're second in the standing. They just knocked off the first place Lynx in their last game. Satu Sabli has missed 2 games. Alyssa Thomas has missed 5 games. Kalia Copper has missed 14 games. So that's 21 games missed from all-stars on this team. And they're still in second place. Now they bring in Dewana Bonner, who they just signed. There's a chance that they may be able to sign Emma Meeseman. They're looking like they are in a really good position to only continue to improve and add on to what they've already done so far this season. So they have about as high of a ceiling, I think, as anyone in the league. And they are similar to the Valkyries, Katie, in the sense that their defense sort of plays above their talent level, even when those all-stars are out. They're executing, they're locking in on that end of the floor. Nate Tibbetts has done a great job there. And they have shooters all around Alyssa Thomas. So regardless of any other talent that they do or don't have, they're going to knock down shots and play defense. And that is always going to give them a chance to compete.
All right, can't argue with the Mercury, but don't let those Valkyries get into the playoffs because anything can happen. As you said, they are very, very well coached. Looking at the weekend spreads, what's jumping out to you, Calvin?
Well, I like the Storm minus 18 tonight. It's a back-to-back. They played Connecticut in Connecticut on Wednesday night. And I know this is a big spread, so it might be tough. But Connecticut actually upset them in Connecticut on Wednesday. That spread hovered between 17 and 18 basically all day. Now we're getting the same line in Seattle. They turn around and go to Seattle's home court, and the line is basically the same. To me, that's an overreaction by the sports books to that one upset to not move the line at all, even though home court flipped. And when you look at that game, the Storm shot 24% from 3. The Sun shot 44%. The Storm are first in the league in 3-point shooting, and the Sun are last in the league. But in that game, it completely flipped, an extreme shooting variance game. So I don't expect that to continue again in this game. And now the Storm are just going to have a chip on their shoulder after having lost that one. So I think they run away with this one. It is a big spread. So if you want to play maybe the first quarter or first half or like a wire-to-wire type of bet to maybe protect from a back door, I like that as well. But I do think that this one is going to be all Storm tonight.
At first I was like, wow, you're laying 18. That is a lot of points. But yeah, this could be a spot where the books are overreacting and you are getting some value there. So I like it. I'm actually going to ride with you on this one. When you look at totals over the weekend, Calvin, what do you like?
We talked about the Fever bouncing back, and I like the over in the Dream Fever game because I think the Fever offense bounces back. Caitlin had that game to shake off the rust. She's been worth about 8 points to the total this season when you look at kind of the totals when she's been on the court or when she's been injured. On the Dream side, the offense is playing extremely well as well. They've hit 90 points in 3 of their last 4, 5 of their last 7. The Dream do typically play slower, but 2 of their fastest 4 games this year were the 2 times that they faced Caitlin Clark previously. It's something about that matchup kind of gets them going, and they like to push the pace a little bit. So I think this one is going to be up-tempo, and I like betting on buckets in this one. It's at 166.5 right now, 167. I like that over. I like it to get to 170.
Betting on buckets. I absolutely love that. So Calvin, give us your top prop for the weekend as well.
We're going back to that Seattle-Connecticut game, and we are taking Nneka Ogwumike of the Storm over 7.5 rebounds. She had 12 in that first matchup on Wednesday, and the big key here is that her defensive rebound rate basically doubles on twos compared to what it is on threes. 25% on twos, only 13% on threes. The Sun, like I said, one of the worst, maybe the worst three-point shooting team in the league, and they don't take very many because of that. They're the third lowest three-point rate in the league. So they are much more prone to getting their points around the rim in the paint, which is where Nneka gets her rebounds. She doesn't get as many of those long rebounds on those threes, but those shots in the paint, she gobbles those up. So in 6 games this year against the top 3 teams in three-point rate, she's averaging 6.5 rebounds, and she's under this in all 6. But in 4 games against the bottom 3 teams in three-point rate, which include the Connecticut Sun, she's averaging 11 rebounds a game, and she's over this in 3 of 4. Now, the one game that she wasn't over was a blowout, and obviously I like the Storm spread, so blowout could be a concern here. But I think even in 25 minutes that she gets this, she's averaging over 30 minutes, and I think she could clear this even in maybe 25 minutes. And we're getting plus money right now, plus 102, which really is too hard to pass up, I think, for me.
All right, too hard to pass up. It's too hard to pass up for me. Anytime you want to come on and talk WNBA, that's our guy, Calvin Wetzel. Appreciate you. We do need to take a quick break here because we're going to move from the hardwood to the pitch. That's right. We're heading overseas for the FIFA Club World Cup final where Chelsea and PSG are set for a heavyweight showdown. I actually think it's happening on this side of the pond. 2 Europeans' biggest clubs, 1 trophy on the line, and of course, Buckets and Martin are here to break it down.